One Piece just tied Superman for the best-selling comic series of all time, 600 million copies. Superman took 88 years to get there. One Piece did it in 27. Is that a threat to the throne, or are the numbers skewed? Let's talk about this and more in tonight's episode of Superman Homepage Live. Hello everyone and welcome to Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com, the number one Superman fan site in the world. In this, our March 9th, 2026 show, we're going to be covering that topic about One Piece. We're going to be talking about so much more. The Action Comics #1 landing in the Smithsonian. We've got comic book stuff to talk about, a restoration of a poster, the Superman curses reared its head once more. We're going to be talking about all that and so much more. And joining me tonight is my good friend and co-host, Mark Lax. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Steve.
How are we tonight?
Oh, not too bad. Doing okay.
That's good. Now, everyone might notice that Michael Bailey is not on the other side of me tonight. He is working late, so unfortunately had to send his apologies. We hope he's not working too hard, but we send our regards to Michael and look forward to having him back with us next week. So let's get into tonight's topics, but before we do that, let's do some housekeeping and want to start with thanking our sponsors and patrons, our Superman Homepage champions. Thank you so much to Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, Tina Murray, and Rick and Tanya Schutzow. Thank you so much for your support. Really appreciate your helping keep this show alive for everyone. Your patronage is keeping this show free, and we really appreciate your sponsorship of the show. And if you'd like to join those folks and have your name read out at the beginning and end of every Superman Homepage Live episode, then all you have to do is click the join button below there on YouTube, or you can go to patreon.com/Superman Homepage. So that's a great way to get involved in tonight's show as a sponsor. But we're also hoping to take some live callers if you're interested in being part of the show tonight. Now, to do that, all you have to do is click the or scan the QR code next to me, or you can go to supermanhomepage.com/live, where you can press the call now button, where you can wait in the green room, and you'll be able to still watch the show there while you wait to get on and talk to us tonight. Now, for those tuning in via YouTube tonight, then we invite you to participate in the chat there. There also is comments on Facebook and also on Instagram. They're the three platforms we're going live on tonight. Mark and I can keep an eye on those comments throughout the show, so that's a great way to also get involved. And if you want your comment or question featured live on the screen during the show, well, then on YouTube, all you have to do is post a super chat. You click the $sign on your YouTube feed. A slider will appear. You decide on the dollar amount you're prepared to donate. It will feature your comment or question on the screen as the show goes along tonight. All right, so let's get into tonight's topics. And the main topic that we spoke about at the top of the show was the news that the I think it's a manga series. I guess that's what it would be known as. It's One Piece. It is a very popular series. It also obviously has been changed into converted into a live action series on Netflix. Now, if you're not familiar with One Piece, it's a story about a boy named Luffy who sets sail to become king of the pirates and claim a legendary treasure. He's got some powers of his own. He's got like stretchy powers. And he has reached a impressive feat of having sold over 600 million copies, tying Superman for the title of best-selling comic book series of all time. Now, Mark, you admitted to me at the top of the show before we got on air that you didn't really know anything about One Piece.
No. I've heard of it, and I knew something about it was on Netflix, and people were talking about it, saying, "Oh, it's really good," and I'm like, I don't know what it is. So yeah, I knew it was manga. I know it had something to do with that. That much I knew, but
Yeah.
beyond that, I didn't know anything about it.
So I've watched the live action series on Netflix, having heard of One Piece just in passing, never read a comic book. And yeah, it was entertaining, and the season 2 is about to drop, if it hasn't already, on Netflix. So it's obviously big enough to get a live action series as well. And I think there's been an animated series and serials or whatever you, I don't know. But do we feel threatened by this? Other numbers being skewed because I don't think Superman comic book sales have actually been reported for quite a few years because, with all the whole diamond distribution and now we want digital with comic book sales as well. Do we care? Is it a big deal? Should Superman feel threatened? Should Superman fans feel threatened? I mean, this character's only been around for since 1997, and here's Superman who's been around since 1938. That's a pretty impressive feat to reach 600 million issues sold in that short amount of time. How do you feel about this? Is this a non-issue?
Well, this might not be a good comparison, but how many how many books has Harry Potter sold since the 90s? How big is Harry Potter? It's still huge.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, it might not be a great comparison, but when you think about it, there's going to be something that comes along that might not have been around as long as Superman that's going to be huge and is going to sell a lot of numbers, and that's just how things are. And again, like you said, we really don't know all the big sales numbers in more recent years for Superman and how well it's doing or not well it's doing. How we don't know. It's been around for 90 something year, close to 90 years at this point.
Yeah, close to.
And sure, you want that character to sell 2 billion copies, but you can't go by that. You never know what the new thing is going to be, and as good as this One Piece may be, eventually it'll fade a little bit in the background. I mean, Superman has too. Superman's been the biggest thing in the world. Superman's faded in the background. He's come back up again. So you really can't compare it. I don't think it's something that we as fans should feel threatened about.
You know what I think probably we should be looking at the positive side of this is that comic books have been a dying art as far as popularity is concerned in general. So the fact that something that started in 1997 has sold that many issues on a comic book front is fantastic because we don't want comic books to die out. We want it to be an ongoing, and to be viable ongoing. So I think this just bodes well for the industry as a whole. Superman is not the be all and end all for the comic book industry. Yes, he pretty much launched it into what it's become, with on the back of the superhero, snowball that he started with Batman and then Spider-Man and what DC and Marvel have done ever since. But the fact that One Piece has sold that many issues just bodes well for the comic book industry in and of itself. So I think it's positive because the more people that read comic books, the more chance they have of reading Superman comic books. Should they come across them in the store or on the shelf or wherever they purchase their comic books these days. So I think all in all, there's plenty of room for everybody on the shelves. As long as comic books continue to be sold, Superman doesn't need to dominate just as long as he's still viable, and we know well and truly that he is.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm happy for there to be a comic book that is selling well because it just like I said, it's like when superhero movies do well at the box office, it bodes well for all superheroes because that means that there is still a thirst out there, still a hunger from the fans to see those films, and so therefore it's great for the industry as a whole. So whether it's comic books, whether it's movies, whether it's TV shows, as long as there's still a place for Superman to exist, then we're happy for other characters and genres to kind of to come into that area to boost that genre.
Absolutely. I mean, when I started reading comics, I was reading just Superman, and then I was reading Batman, and then I was reading this, and then I went to other companies and started reading other things.
You
And,
branch out.
Yeah, so just just by people buying this comic, maybe they'll see something else and read something else. It doesn't. I'm not worried.
No,
I'll
no,
say
neither
that
am I.
much.
I actually didn't know that Superman still was the sold over 600 million copies and held that title. I thought Batman may have well surpassed that, or one of the other characters. I had no idea that Superman
Mhm.
was still the biggest selling comic book character. I'm not talking about year by year, but we're just talking overall in history, because Batman really only came a year later. So it's not like Superman has been around a lot longer than characters like Batman, who seem to have become more popular in recent times. So it's great. I was happy to see that, regardless of whether or not One Piece is joining him at the top of the pile there. So yep, it's great. All the more the merrier. All right,
Yes.
let's move on to other topics. Let's start with the movie side of things. And surprisingly, it's been a very quiet week on the movie side of things. We actually don't have any updated news on either the Supergirl movie, which I'm hearing there may be a new trailer coming out maybe next week. But there's nothing new on that front. It's almost the calm before the storm in some ways. And there's been no news on Man of Tomorrow this week, the upcoming sequel to Superman that's coming out in 2027. It's been very quiet on that front as well. So, but we do hear that the filming for Man of Tomorrow will begin in April. So it's all going to kick into gear, and then we'll be complaining about how busy things are and how we can't keep up with the amount of news that's been happening, just like we did last year.
Yeah, I right now everyone's talking about the whole Warner Brothers, Paramount, that whole thing, and
Mm-hmm.
I think just nothing new is come out, so they're just kind of lying low for a little bit until things start to heat up. Like you said, a new trailer for Supergirl, and in April, once Man of Tomorrow starts to film, that's when you'll start hearing a lot of things, because we still haven't heard, as far as Man of Tomorrow, we still don't know everybody who's in the movie. We
No,
we know it's Lex and Superman. We know Brainiac is there. We know they're looking for some sort of strong woman. So we're
female
thinking
warrior
it's
of some
Maxima.
kind. Yeah,
But we don't really know about any of the other actors who are or aren't going to be in it. So I mean, all that's going to come
mm-hmm.
out very soon, I would think, especially
Yeah,
with filming started.
exactly. And it's been interesting to watch which actors James Gunn and David Corenswet have started following on social media. If that's a hint as to new people who are being cast in the film. So there's a bit of a watch front on that side of things. Um, Sales Sales anyway, one of the names in Instagram's asking Shazam in Man of Tomorrow, really or not? No, Shazam will not be in Man of Tomorrow. Uh, that I don't know where that one comes from. That's very left field, but no, we
Hmm.
will not see. I don't. I would probably bet my house on the fact that we will not see Shazam in Man of
Yeah, I haven't
Tomorrow.
heard anything about
No,
that.
that's come out of nowhere. Mind the Gap saying he's still bummed about the merger news. I hope someone blocks it. Well, I mean, nothing is guaranteed yet. Currently it's Paramount buying out Warner Brothers Discovery. That's still to be ratified with votes, the board members and everybody and shareholders to vote on that in the third quarter of this year, as we talked about last week. So yeah, still plenty of water to go under the bridge there. Um, all right, let's move on to one other movie news item that if you're in Peoria in Illinois, the Peoria Riverfront Museum is presenting a special giant screen presentation of Superman the movie, the 1978 classic, on March 12th. So a couple of days' time, you'll be able to, if you're in Peoria, Illinois, or near there, March 12th, there will be a 3 p.m. screening and a 6:30 p.m. screening on the giant screen there at the Peoria Riverfront Museum. So that sounds like a great thing to go see if you're in the area. I imagine that would be awesome to see on a giant screen like that.
what constituted a giant screen? Is it
Well, I
IMAX
guess
or bigger than
it's
IMAX?
yeah. I don't know if it's IMAX size or it's similar to IMAX, but it's obviously not an IMAX branded
Right.
screen.
Right.
So maybe it's similar to IMAX, and they just obviously can't call it IMAX because it's not an IMAX theater. But it's obviously a
Okay.
giant screen, so it's obviously bigger than your usual movie theater. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that would be great to see that on a
exactly.
huge screen.
All right, this one came up today on social media, Facebook to be exact. I saw this post about the Superman curse, and it annoyed me to the fact where I had to write an article about it and debunk it and pull it apart and
Hmm.
explain why it's nonsense, why it's what was the word I used, the phrase I used, cherry picking. So a masterclass in cherry picking was how I put it. Um, they've got George Reeves there, who is usually the first and foremost example when people talk about the Superman curse. You know, the fact that he either was killed or committed suicide and was typecast and therefore took his life, what have you. What happened to Christopher Reeve with his horse riding accident, Margot Kidder's very public and tragic mental breakdown, Richard Pryor's issues with his health and drug addiction and stuff like that. And I mean, they're pulling things out of their ear when they talk
Yeah.
about Dana Reeve. I mean, she was married to Christopher Reeve after he was Superman. Yes, it was very tragic that she died of lung cancer despite never being a smoker herself, but she was a lounge singer who was obviously around secondary smoke a lot of her adult
Hmm.
career. But to use her as part of the Superman curse, I mean, that's ridiculous. You might as well use somebody's mother's daughter's uncle or somebody down the line, that would.
And they had to pick almost every Superman and get and have some kind of what they say about Tom Welling.
That he refused to wear the suit to avoid the curse. Like, how is
Oh,
that?
jeez, how is that a curse?
How is that a
Yeah,
curse?
he was cursed, though, right? But
Brandon
look,
Routh,
you
they're
could
saying his
push it.
career stalled after playing Superman. I mean, that's debatable. I mean, he's gone on to do some great stuff and came back
Yeah,
to play Superman again in the CW crossover. Henry Cavill, I
that's
mean,
right.
really? Okay, yeah, his version of Superman was pulled out from underneath him, but he's gone on to have a great career. So, and been iconic in other roles in other genres. So, I think that this is really, as I said, kind of ridiculous confirmation bias. There are in the nearly 90-year history of Superman, hundreds, if not thousands, of people who have been involved with the character, whether it be from the comic book side of things, writers and artists, whether it be people who are actors or directors or best boys or lighting or caterers or whatever. They have been involved in making these movies. I mean, when you have, as I said in my article, when you have a character that's nearly 90 years old, just the amount of people who are involved in the character, life is going to happen. People are going to die. People are going to have tragedy happen to them. It's not because they were involved with Superman. It's because Superman has been around so long that there are going to be examples that you can select and choose from to point to this fallacy of there being a myth. It's not a curse. It's just the fact of life.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it starts with George Reeves because of what happened to him. So then something happens to another Superman, 40 years later, and it's like, well, it happened to this Superman. Now something bad happened to that Superman. So now there's a curse. And now everyone who has any kind of involvement whatsoever, if they break their leg at some point, well, that's because of the Superman curse. It is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
I mean, Kirk Allen lived till 80 something, had a very healthy and happy life. You know,
Noel Neal,
Noel Neal lived
um,
into her 90s. Jack
and
Larson,
even Phyllis Kerr, who's
Phyllis
the first
Coates.
one person. Phyllis Kerr. She lived to great old age, and
Yeah,
and Jack Larson, and all these people,
yeah,
and
exactly.
you can go on and on.
$100%. I mean, Amy
It's just
Adams
nonsense.
played Lois Lane, and she's an Oscar-nominated actor,
Yeah.
has had a great career. So you're just cherry picking when you point out
Hmm.
certain people who have had tragedy come across, and the fact that they were part of a Superman franchise. But as I said, it's just cherry picking the ridiculousness of pointing towards a curse that doesn't actually exist. Not, I mean, whether you believe in curses or not, which obviously I don't. But I think it's ridiculous to say that just because you're involved in Superman somehow that stuff has happened to you. I mean, you could look at, as I say in my article, um, James Dean died tragically as a young actor. He had no superhero connection. Judy Garland,
No.
was Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, endured decades of personal suffering. Heath Ledger died after playing the Joker in The Dark Knight, which, can we start pointing that there's a Batman curse because that happened to
Yeah,
him?
Batman.
Like,
Every
really?
every Joker now, or everybody who's been involved with the Wizard of Oz and all the
Yeah,
terrible things happening to
exactly.
them.
100%. So yeah, it's not a curse. It's just life. Life happens. People get sick. People have accidents, and with 90 years of people being around Superman, you are going to have mathematically people who are involved. Things happen to them, not because they were involved in Superman, just because Superman's been around a long time. These things happen. No, James Dean did not play Superman, JP Roger. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, you know, there is not a curse necessarily associated with certain things just because an actor comes to an early demise. All right. Let's move on. So, just an interesting article. If you want to check it out, it's up on supermanhomepage.com at the moment, debunking the idea of a Superman curse. All right, we are going to move into some of our regular segments right now. First, we are going to do the fan favorite segment of the show. I'm going to stumble through this week in history, either before or after our break. And then we're going to get Celeste Sims is our fan focus for this week, and she'll be calling in after this week in history to talk about her involvement with Superman. So let's get into the fan favorite segment right now. All right, the fan favorite question from last week was, which is your favorite animated version of Lex Luthor? We had a few people respond to this one. Mark, who was up first?
Wonder wrote, "My favorite animated version of Lex Luthor is by far the Superman the animated series version. The amazing voice acting, writing, and design all culminate into one of the best, if not the best, version of Lex Luthor I've ever seen outside of the comic books."
Thank you, Wonder. Very good. All right, next up we had JP Rocha, who said, my favorite animated Lex Luthor is from the Super Friends. The version is iconic and there is nothing cooler than the Hall of Doom. Thank you so much, JP. Yes, very iconic image.
And John Patrick Van Pelt wrote, "My favorite cartoon version of Lex Luthor has to be played Clancy Brown from Superman the animated series."
Thank you, JP, John Patrick Van Pelt. Next up, we have Celeste, who says, my favorite animated version of Lex Luthor is from Superman, the animated series. He is sharp, cunning, witty, and super funny.
And Ryan Ignatius Pratt wrote, "My favorite animated Lex Luthor would be that from Superman the animated series, voiced by Clancy Brown. This incarnation of Superman's arch enemy is absolutely classic."
There you go. We've got pretty much a unanimous call for Clancy Brown's version of Lex Luthor from Superman the animated series. The only outlier there is JP Rocha with the Super Friends Lex Luthor, but Superman the animated series was by far ahead of any other version as far as being the favorite animated version of Lex Luthor. Would you agree with that, Mark, or do you have a different opinion?
Yeah, no, I would agree. I would definitely agree with that. But as far as who was it, JP, who said the
The Super
Luther from the
Friends.
Super Friends, he's probably a very close second. Because
Okay.
that was the Luther when I animated Luther when I
Yes.
grew up.
Yeah.
He was very Bronze Age, and so that was one of my favorites until Clancy Brown's version.
Very good. Yes, that's definitely a popular choice there as well. I'd probably be my second. I'd have to go with Clancy Brown's version of Lex Luthor from Superman the Animated Series. He just came across as being suave, menacing. There was a lot to
Mhm.
like about him, and Clancy Brown's voice was just silky smooth, but also
Yeah.
had that sinister kind of edge to it that smugness to it that you just wanted Superman to
Mhm.
smack him up left side of the face.
He has an iconic voice to begin with, and then
Yes,
but voicing that is just took it to the next level.
it did. It did. So, yeah, well done to everyone. Thank you for your responses to the fan favorite segment. Our new question for this week, still on the animated side of things. Which is your favorite animated version of the Daily Planet building? There have been some really iconic looks over the years, from the Fleischer cartoons right through to My Adventures with Superman. So, which is your favorite animated version of the Daily Planet building? We're talking from the exterior, so with the globe or not with the globe, whichever version is your favorite. Let us know. Send in your emails to info@supermanhomepage.com. That's info@supermanhomepage.com, and we'll read out and show the responses for the animated version of the Daily Planet when we return to the fan favorite segment next week. So get involved. All right, let's jump into this week in history as I press the button and get my stuff together.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bars of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
All right, so this week in history, we're going back decade by decade, looking through what came out this week from March 8th to March 15th, I believe it would be, or March 14th, back in this week in over the decades, going all the way back to 1946. March 13th, 1946 saw the release of Action Comics 96, and it had a number of stories in there. The Superman story was Haircut and a Close Shave, which is an interesting title, but there's Superman on the cover playing, looks like he's playing chess under
Yeah,
at the bottom of the
is
sea.
that underwater?
Yeah, it's underwater with a couple of deep divers. So yeah,
Yeah, looks that way.
uh, yeah,
And
and
then he
someone's
gets a
on.
haircut. I don't know.
It's really interesting because the one behind him is looks like he's whispering into Superman's ear what move to make and pointing to the yeah, really
Yeah,
okay. All right. Also moving forward to 1956, May 13th, 1956 saw the release of Superman 105, and there were three stories. There was Superman's Three Mistakes, Mr. Mxyzptlk's Secret Identity, and Superman Slave, which appears to be the cover image there, where he's obeying uh, the Roman soldier there on the horse.
yeah, looks
So
like.
yeah, there you have it. All right, so also moving forward then to 1966, we have this issue of Superboy number 129. It had six different Superboy stories within. It's a 80-page giant, so it's obviously collecting some old Superman stories, Superboy stories from earlier in the character's history. Also in 1966, that same week, saw the release of World's Finest Comics number 157. And the two stories in there were The Abominable Brats and The Secret of Cell 16. So obviously the Super Brats there being the sons of the characters. Got
Yeah,
Superboy in the background there.
I would guess so.
Mm.
I don't know if this is part of the Super Sons saga or not, but
Mm. All right, then we jump forward a decade to 1976, where March 11th saw the release of Superman number 300, a milestone issue. And this one was written by Kerry Bates and also Elliot S. Magan, with art by Kurt Swan. So you know that this was one that you wanted to obviously have just from the art perspective. But yeah, interesting there that we've got Superman 2001, a futuristic story, and now it's also in the past for
yeah,
us. So there you have it.
it's something that's very futuristic in the past. That's
Yes. There you go. Moving forward to 1986, we had the Legion of Superheroes number 23 come out, and Superboy was obviously a part of that story. And also in 1986, this week saw the release of Superman 420, written by, again, Elliot S. Magan and pencils by Kurt Swan in this one. And the title of the story was "And We Are the Dreamers of the Dreams." Very 1980s type of title.
Yes, I think I remember that one.
Then moving forward to 1996, we saw the release of Adventures of Superman 534. I remember this issue. The Demon Within. Stuart Amonen was the writer, with Jose Marzan Jr., the inker on that one. I'm guessing Amonen, also did the art. So
yes,
great period of
he
Superman
did.
comic
Yeah,
books.
the cover. I'm pretty sure he did the cover too.
Yeah, definitely did the cover. You can tell. Also, that same week saw the release of Steel number 26, and I didn't read Steel at the time, but obviously he was a member of the Superman family of characters. Were you a Steel reader?
Early on, I was. I don't think I was reading it at this point, but
Okay.
I did. When it first premiered, I did read it, but
Okay.
I didn't stay with it to the
Didn't
end.
stick with it, yeah. And then there was nothing in 2006, interestingly. So we jumped to 2016, 10 years ago today, saw the release of Action Comics number 50. Obviously, the renumbering started at some point back in the few years earlier. And we've got the Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice dress there at the top banner. But this one written by Greg Pak. And that was Action Comics number 50. And also that same week saw the release of Batman Superman number 30. Universe's Finest Part 3 was the story there. And that one was written by Tom Taylor. So that was the comic book side of things. Then in the real world this week, we see the, just getting my notes here, the birthday on March 9th of artist Rick Burchett, who drew the Superman Adventures comic book series. He was born in 1952. So happy birthday to Rick. Also on March 9th, Jason Manocha, who plays the role or voices the role of Jor-El in the animated series My Adventures with Superman, was born in Indiana in 1989. So happy birthday to Jason, a great voice of Jor-El, even though he didn't speak in English much in the early episodes, but became a great character in that. Eddie Gathegi, who played Mr. Terrific in the 2025 Superman movie, was born in Nairobi in Kenya in 1979. So happy birthday to Eddie for tomorrow. In the, what's the word I'm looking for? Fictional birthday side of things.
Fictional world.
March 12th is traditionally recognized as the birthday of Perry White, the editor of the Daily Planet. So, that was in a calendar once. And Dana Delaney, who is best known as the voice for Lois Lane in Superman the Animated Series, was born in New York City, New York in 1956 on March 13th. So happy birthday to her. And sadly, March 14th marks the anniversary of the death of Kirk Allen, who played Superman in two serials, Superman and Atom Man vs. Superman. He died back in 1999 of natural causes, no curse there, natural causes, in aged 88. So, sad to commemorate his death, but a great man and a great Superman actor. So that was this week in history.
Very good. Very, very good.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back on the flip side to do our fan focus segment, where we will be talking to Celeste Sims, who we are talking to this week about her love of Superman. So we're back right after these messages.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
If you're enjoying Superman Homepage Live, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, then you can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. You can also join our YouTube membership program, just click the join button below. Or you can become a patron and support our website by going to patreon.com/supermanhomepage.
Nearly 90 years of history, but how do you map the entire expansive mythology of this dynamic cultural phenomenon? Introducing Man of Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. The chronological framework navigates Superman's history month by month. Discover the individuals who shaped the icon, the date of Krypton's tragic destruction, and the day the nation mourns Superman's death. Explore epic milestones, from the groundbreaking radio debut to Richard Donner's cinematic masterpiece that launched an entire era. This is more than a catalog of dates. It's a roadmap to understanding how myths evolve and continue to shape the world. Go to Amazon to get your copy today.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer. I'm the voice of Superman in Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
SupermanHomepage.com? All right.
Hey, this is Christopher Gorham. You're on the Superman Homepage.
Hey, this is Sam Whitwer, and you're watching Superman Homepage.
Insiders say Lex Luthor to cut nation's power. Superman overpowers Lex Luthor. Alienware powers the nation.
Alienware. Embrace the power.
And we're back on Superman Homepage Live. I don't even know if Alienware is still around. I haven't heard anything from Alienware. You know, that laptop and all that kind of stuff for Superman back. Yeah, but I have to look them up, see if they still exist.
Yeah, that I don't know.
All right, we are going to get into our fan focus segment, and we have Celeste waiting on right now. I'm going to bring her in when I move over to over here. I'm going to bring her on as guest number 3. Just one second. And there's Celeste. Hello, Celeste.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, doing well, thank you. We've seen your name as part of our audience for so many years now, or so many months now. It's been great to finally get to speak to you, and thank you for agreeing to be our fan focus person tonight.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
I love Superman.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, I loved Superman for the longest time, and I'm just so excited to get to do this with y'all.
Excellent. Well, I guess the first question is, how did you become a Superman fan? What first got you into the character?
I think what really got me first into the character is when I first heard about Superman, I was widely fascinated because I heard that he was an alien, and my interpretation of aliens were like, almost like these, organisms. I thought it was so cool that there's this guy who has all these powers, but he's still very much human. He's very down to earth. He struggles, and I found that very inspiring because he's not afraid to speak his mind, and I was very moved by that.
Excellent. Great answer.
What makes you continue to read Superman? Why is he so important to you?
I think the main reason why he's so important to me is because I resonate with him on such a personal level, because especially the fact that he likes to see the good in everyone, and he values human life, and as do I, and he encourages others, to take care of others, and like I do, and that really touches me.
Yeah, I think I'm very much the same. It very much relate to what the character stands for, and that's why he's resonated with me for so long. But in following the character, do you have a Superman collection? If so, what is your most cherished Superman collectible? Or if you don't collect that much, what's your most cherished Superman memory?
I think one of my special cherished memories is when the first Superman anything that I got into was Smallville. I love Smallville. I still watch it, and I follow Michael Rosenbaum and Tom Welling. I love their Talkville podcast. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing that I watched with my aunt, and my aunt and I would watch that. We watched it through the last season, which was 11, I think, and it was really nice, something that we got to share.
Yeah, that's great. I think a lot of people bonded over Smallville and would watch it as a family, and it's something. I think I did a similar thing with. I know my father grew up with the 1950s George Reeves series, so when it came out on DVD, I would take them over to him and watch episodes with him, and it would just bring back so many memories for him, having grown up with watching the series back on black and white television. And when you realize most of them were actually filmed in color, it was actually surprised, and it added a whole new element. So I think watching a TV series with family members definitely resonates and bring back great memories that the character helps form for us through our lives.
If I could say with my dad, I mean, we saw the first three Superman movies together. So, I mean, he of course grew up also with George Reeves, and and I watched that growing up, but we saw the movies together. So that always, bonded us with Superman. What does your family think as a whole with your fascination with Superman?
They love it because they too have similar values, and they like that I am very passionate about Superman as they are. So they love it.
Yeah, that's great. I always think it's great when family members support something that you're passionate about, especially when it's something that's wholesome. I mean, how can you get angry at someone for following Superman or being passionate about Superman when he's such a great character and a great role model? If you're into heavy metal or something like that and blowing out everybody's ears, that might be an issue with some of the family members, but I think Superman's pretty safe.
Yeah, I think so too.
Excellent. Well, Celeste, is there anything else you want to talk to us about from yourself, like anything you want to share that we haven't asked you about?
Well, I think overall I'm happy to be part of this community, and I enjoy sharing my passion with all of y'all, and I appreciate you letting me come on.
No, thank you so much for agreeing to be on tonight. Really appreciate you taking the time. We appreciate the fact that you come. You're a member of our audience every week, watching live with us. So it's always great to hear from you, and it's great to put a face to a name. So thank you for coming on tonight, and we wish you all the best.
Of course, thank you.
Okay, take care. Thanks, Celeste.
You.
Bye.
Take care.
You're welcome.
That was Celeste. How great was that?
Yeah. That was great.
Yeah, and seeing plenty of people in the comments saying what a great segment. such an awesome segment. So yeah, thank you so much for that feedback. We love talking to you and getting your feedback and hearing about who you are and why Superman is such an important part of your life. So Justin in the comments, Bizarro saying happy with seeing you today, Celeste. So it's great that the community themselves can then get to put a face to a name because we have regulars we see regular names in the comments each week who watch live with us, and it's great to bring them into the show. And speaking of which, we have Michael Marino, who we've spoken to quite a few times before on this show, and he's called in tonight to have a quick chat. So I'm going to bring him in right now and add him to the right-hand side of our screen. Hey, Michael.
Hey, gentlemen. How you doing?
Doing well tonight. And yourself?
I'm okay. Did you guys see the Saturn Awards last night? Superman was nominated.
I did see that we actually reported that he was nominated, that the movie was nominated. Sadly, did not win any of those awards, but it's all, nominations are always great. But I kept seeing in my social media stream today all the different awards that had been handed out, and was keeping my eye out to see if Superman had won the categories that he was nominated in. But sadly, that didn't happen. But great to be nominated anyway.
Yes.
Yes, I know that Peacemaker won an award, but one of the cast members did mention that James Gunn had said that the reason why he couldn't be there last night was because he's beginning to film Man of Tomorrow. So that made me really happy to hear, because now we got confirmation that he's going to be moving forward really soon on that.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
But
that's great.
And speaking about Man of Tomorrow, with this whole Paramount issue, people are saying, oh, they're going to fire him. I have not seen any news on that, and some people say that he's going to walk out. I think he's smarter than that. He's like DC. He's the DCU head with Peter Safran, and even if he were to leave, I'm sure Peter would pick up where James would have left off. So people are just not giving him enough credit, and
I don't see that happening.
It's sad to see that.
Yeah, I mean, people like to be naysayers and like to throw their 2 cents in. And sometimes I don't even think it's worth 2 cents what they have to say, because it's just nonsense. There's actually no proof. James Gunn is here for the long haul. DC Studios isn't a part of its, stands alone in some respects. Yes, obviously the people who own the company, the Warner Brothers, Discovery, and then obviously if it's Paramount who are part of that, will have their say as to how things go. But the whole reason Paramount are buying into Warner Brothers Discovery at the moment is because things are going well there. They see obviously their IPs as being something they want to be a part of. So I don't see them making any changes, any wholesale changes along those lines. I think we're just getting into a new universe for DC Universe, as you said, and we've got Supergirl coming in the next couple of months. We've got Man of Tomorrow moving forward. Millions of dollars have already been injected into those projects, so I think we're pretty safe bet that James Gunn will be around for the long haul and will continue being the helm of DC Studios with Peter Safran moving forward, regardless of who is the parent company.
Yes, and before I go, I wanted to ask, has there been any news on the 3rd season of My Adventures with Superman? I've been dying to see it.
Yeah, nothing new. We know it's obviously been in production for a while, and we're waiting for an announcement as to the premiere date for season 3. It's forthcoming. We just don't know when. It seems to be taking its time. But I've reached out to some of the producers of the show, who one of them was on, Josie Campbell was on this show a couple of years back when the first season was coming out. And so I've reached out to Josie to try to get some input as to when we can expect to see season 3, but no news at this stage. But it's coming. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, same. Thanks, Michael. Really appreciate you calling in.
Take care, everyone.
See you later.
Take care.
All right, have a good one.
Bye bye.
There you go. Great to hear from Michael, and broached a few subjects there that were worth talking about. All right. Yeah, that was good. So, yeah, hopefully season 3 comes sooner rather than later. But no news.
Yeah, I mean, I would think if it comes out this year, it'd be summer or fall. I would think, but if it comes out this year, so
yeah, hopefully it does, because we were thinking it might come out last year, but it did not. So stand by. We'll keep you posted as to any news that comes on that side of the world of Superman. All right, some big news this week that did come forward was the fact that Action Comics #1 is now part of the Smithsonian. We keep joking that it belongs in a museum, and now it is in a museum. So yeah, it's Action Comics #1, obviously the comic that introduced Superman to the world. His debut has been donated to the Smithsonian Museum's permanent collection as part of a gift from Brandon Beck, who is the co-founder of video game developer Riot Games. The acquisition is being described by museum staff as one of the most significant in the institution's history. So that is awesome that it has been donated to be in the Smithsonian Museum's collection, where it belongs.
Yeah, I mean, if it's going to any museum, it's going to the Smithsonian.
Yeah. So
no, that's great.
That is great news, and yeah, well done to Brian for donating it to the Smithsonian. Brandon Beck, the co-founder of Riot Games, who obviously acquired the issue, I'm guessing recently, to donate it. Maybe it's the $15 million version that we were talking about. But yeah, that is an impressive and well-worthy acquisition by the Smithsonian. So, yep, looking forward to people being able to enjoy that on display at the Smithsonian. Great news. Which city is the Smithsonian in? Asks someone.
It's in Washington, D.C.
There you go. Washington, D.C. That answers your question. Mark knows all about it.
Yes.
So that answers the question for
I've been there.
Rain. You have? Okay, excellent. So
years ago, but yeah, I've been there.
Well, you've been. So yeah. Washington, D.C. So yes, thank you very much. All right. On the comic book side of things, also, Clover Press has recently announced that they're going to be putting out a hardcover volume of the DC art of Bruno Redondo, obviously an Eisner-winning artist, most notably known for Nightwing, but also of Injustice, Justice League, Batman, Harley Quinn, and many more. But they're doing a Kickstarter campaign or a backer kit campaign for the publication, which they did for the previous DC Art of book, which I think was for somebody else. Another artist. They did one. I'm trying to think of who it was, looking through it. But the book does have a foreword by Tom Taylor, best-selling comic book writer, obviously, who does the introduction to the book, and he was a frequent creative partner with Bruno Redondo. So if you're interested in the art or the art of the DC art of Bruno Redondo, then you can check out the Kickstarter. Links are up on supermanhomepage.com if this is something that you're interested in being a part of and making sure you get a copy of. So there you have it. All right, let's move into some Action Comics news, and this one was quite interesting. A lot of fans were very excited to see the DC Multiverse, obviously from McFarlane Toys, Deluxe Theatrical Edition, Wave 3, Superman the Movie, 1978 Superman 7-inch scale action figure. This is obviously in the likeness of Christopher Reeve with a cloth cape. It comes with a art card, it's got 22 moving parts for full range of posing. Includes 8 extra hands, 2 alternate head portraits. It has 1 art card with the card stand, 1 mini poster with display clips, and a figure display base. So that is an impressive. And I believe they're already available in Target stores if they haven't flown off the shelves already. But that might be one that you want to have a look at picking up.
Yeah, that looks great. I mean, it looks like him, but not eerily so. Not. I mean, you could tell it's after Christopher Reeve, but it doesn't look exactly like him, which I think is better. That it's not, in a kind of creepy way. So I think it looks good. I think it's. I just think the whole thing looks good.
Yeah, it's priced at
Something I would.
$34.99, so it's kind
Oh
of
yeah, that's reasonable.
reasonable. Yeah, for especially when it has all these extra attachments. A couple of different alternate head portraits, all these different hands, so you can pose it in flying. It's got one where it's got holding the sun crystal, that he creates the Fortress of Solitude with. So there are different options for your way of displaying it, and it is available now for sale. And pre-orders are available, obviously, as well, if you want to use the links on our website, which help keep the Superman homepage alive, because we get a commission at no extra cost to you. So if you are thinking of buying it online, then head to our website, find the links there, and a great way to purchase it online through Entertainment Earth. But it's also, as I've been told and seen on social media, available at some retailers like Target there in the US.
Yeah.
All right.
Something I might think of picking up.
Yeah, something to look around for.
Definitely.
All right. I said there was no Supergirl movie news, and there really isn't, but there is some fashion news that maybe involves Supergirl. So Her Fashion, which is I'm just going to open the graphic here. That's the logo for Her Fashion. It's Her Fashion. Her Universe fashion show is returning to San Diego Comic-Con this summer with a bold new twist. For the first time in the event's history, every competing design will be exclusively inspired by DC characters, obviously including Superman, Supergirl, Batman, Wonder Woman. Presented by Warner Brothers Discovery Global Consumer Products, the show is set for July 23rd at 6 p.m. Pacific Time in the Harbour Ballroom of the Manchester Grand Hyatt Hotel. Actress and Her Universe founder Ashley Eckstein will be the host of the show, and it will showcase original high fashion designs, not costume or cosplay, but actual fashion designs for dresses and outfits and what have you for a wide range of DC properties. And if you're interested, they have a portal at heruniverse.com. Where designers can submit entries through from March 27th through to April 26th, and finalists will be notified around May 8th. So if you're a budding designer and a fashion designer and have ideas for DC Comics inspired fashion, you might want to get involved. Mark, you got a lot of spare time.
Yeah, I do. Actually, I do. Maybe I will.
Got any fashion sense? I don't know. I don't.
Oh, I have a lot of great, as you can see, a lot of great fashion sense.
All right, so that's heruniverse.com. All right, well, that pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's show. There is a great little video up of a 1974 Superman jointed poster that gets a conservation effort to restore it to its former glory, if you want to check that out. Don't forget, there's also the caption contest at the Superman homepage with an image of Jimmy Olsen to write a caption for. But that is it for Superman Homepage Live tonight. Thank you, Mark. Really appreciate your co-hosting the show with me again tonight.
Thank you, Steve.
We wish Michael Bailey all the best and look forward to having him back with us next week. But for tonight's show, before we sign off, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in, being part of Superman Homepage Live. Thanks to Celeste for being our fan focus segment this week. Thank you for Michael for calling in, Michael Marino. A big thank you, as I said, to Mark Lax. And thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, Tina Murray, and Rick and Tanya Schutzau. And if you want to sponsor the show, please head to patreon.com/Superman homepage or click the join button on YouTube. The complete 1 hour video of tonight's show will remain available on the Superman homepage website and on our YouTube channel if you'd like to watch it back or perhaps missed part of the show. But we'll be back next week on Monday, March 16th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time for another edition of Superman Homepage Live. We look forward to talking to you then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. If you enjoyed tonight's show, the greatest compliment you can give us is by sharing it with a family or friend. Send off that text message, copy the link, send it off, give it a like, let everybody know that you are part of Superman Homepage Live tonight. I'm Steve Eunice on behalf of myself and Mark. Thanks for watching Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com. Good night.